All right, guys, welcome YouTube. Welcome back to Comic Ozzi. Today is a very, very special day. It is the first episode of a new series of videos that I'm going to be making. They're called Inside the YouTube Studio. Basically, what that is, I'm going to try and get some content creators, YouTube creators, on the channel. We're going to do an interview, and it's basically about looking behind the scenes, finding out what it kind of takes to make these videos, to create that content to bring to you. And the first person that I thought of to kick off this series of shows is a great friend of mine, a local Torontonian, and just an all-around awesome guy. And the content that he makes is quite different. So I thought it'd be awesome just to have him as the first guest. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Actual Dracula. Just give me 1 second here while we have him on. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to the show, brother. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it only made sense that, you know, because we have our own show together to kick off this series of shows with you, just to find out, you know, what it takes to bring Actual Dracula to YouTube. So let's do this today.
I'm excited to find that out too.
Because sometimes when you go through that thought process, you're like, oh,
yeah,
I didn't actually think of that. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right on. So why don't we start by just like you just kind of, you know, giving us a little rundown of your channel is the namesake as well. It's called Actual Dracula. Some channels have go under a different moniker and they have different personalities that kind of come in and out, but you know, yours is named after yourself. So why don't we just give a little rundown of the show and people can kind of get an idea of it. And for everybody that is watching this video, I will put links in the description so you can sub up Actual Dracula, find out his contents, and I'll put Instagram links and so on so you can easily find them. But why don't we find out about your channel, and then we'll just kind of get into it and just kind of like learn about what it takes for you to bring it to us. So
sure, absolutely.
Hand it over to you.
Okay, well, I guess you kind of want to
I just
talk about the beginnings of this channel.
Let's start with what the channel is right now, like as it kind of sits, like what it you know, what it represents.
Yeah, so my channel is it's really a mix of, there's probably 2 or 3 main kind of regular shows I do. First, of course, is my weekly Wednesday show that I do with you, Comic Picks in the 416.
Right.
And that's been going really great.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
That was kind of a spur of the moment decision on our part after I guess I had invited you on to do I was showing off my new comic book day haul. I was like, do you want to hop on? And then we decided to make it a regular thing, and I'm glad we did because it's been a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
We had our first guest. Well, if you're watching this, this was some time ago, but we had our first guest recently, Vancouver Comic Junkie. That was great. And I think incorporating a guest into the show as well, that obviously is going to work well. You know, obviously not every show, but
right. It just has a different layer to the show, right?
Yeah. So there's that where, you know, we show off our new comic book day hauls, back issue pickups, things like that. Then I have my kind of live started out as weekly. It's not necessarily every week. Some weeks I can't do it. But it's my live panel show, Casual Dracula, which is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It is a very loosely structured show where we just have discussion. I have discussions with different members of the comic book community, other YouTube channels. You know, sometimes I will have a specific topic or topics that I want to hit. Sometimes we play stupid little games on my garbage game show, which is a recurring feature. But basically,
that's a feature on Casual Dracula.
it is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of just started out as a joke, and I kept going along with it. I try and find different, just little games to play. And yeah, that's been a lot of fun. I've got to talk with so many amazing people in this community. Some people I had been with on streams before, others I had not. And that was one of the main reasons why I started that show. Was there was a lot of other people. I do get invited on other people's channels and live streams. Um, but there was still lots of other people who I'd never got a chance to, talk to really in person. And so that was kind of my primary reason for doing that, was that this would give me an opportunity to invite people to come on my show, whoever I want to ask, and do that. So,
right.
Yeah. So in addition to those two shows, then I will have edited content such as, unboxings, haul videos, and just some other random stuff occasionally.
Is there any so with the different elements, is there any sort of structure that you had in your head? You're like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, or is it more just like a see how it kind of goes kind of thing? Or
yeah, it's kind of just been more like that.
see what works and doesn't
I
work.
kind of just go with the flow, as it were.
Right.
Even Casual Dracula is a great example. From the very first episode, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't really have much of a plan.
Like
My
most
very
people.
first episode was with my good buddies, Whack Comics, Lee and Tyler, and I knew that would have been a great first episode because I'm a huge fan of their channel, and that their show, so their Whack Live, was a huge inspiration for Casual Dracula. And so I knew that would be a good starting point. And it's just kind of grown from there. I don't know if grow is the right word. It fluctuates. It's, every episode is different, which is really what I wanted it to be, was to kind of, I knew my guests would always, bring obviously their own personalities and own opinions, but I also try and do that as well in terms of whether I change up, whether if there's a specific topic, or, sometimes there's no topic at all. It's just whatever we're talking about, whatever we watched, the day before, or something like that.
Right.
It's like I said, very loosely structured.
I find, I guess I'll find out once I talk to more content creators, but I think what happens is you see what videos work, what don't work, like in terms of like view counts. I think that's really the only way, aside from getting direct feedback from like friends and peers and stuff like that. But you're like, yes. I think we had a conversation about this, like view count. You're like, oh, that kind of worked out and that didn't kind of work out. So I think for me as well, you kind of, I'm not saying duplicate, but you try and hone that specific episode that kind of worked, and you try and like work on it, do it again, sort of thing. Is that a thing that you kind of notice and do as well?
It's not anything that I've really tried to do or paid that much attention to until up until recently. I have been thinking more about that. When I look at view counts, obviously certain videos do have, for some reason, have more views than others.
Right.
Sometimes it's just as simple as what day of the week it is, what time of the day it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that can greatly affect view counts.
Yeah.
Even more than content. So, but I have kind of I guess the more I've started to kind of look at how my videos have been doing, which before I didn't really care. I still, I'm not doing this for views or subs. I'm doing it because I really enjoy doing it.
Right.
That being said, I do want people to see what I'm doing. I'm not doing it for nobody. I'm just not putting it out there in the ether.
Yeah.
And if nobody watches it, it's like, no, that's not great. I want people to see it, right?
Right.
And,
right.
So yeah, that is definitely something I've started to take into consideration, is looking at what videos of mine have been the most popular. And
Mhm.
sometimes that's really, like I said, yeah, it could be the time of day. Sometimes it's things that are really uh not things I can't really control. Like, it could be whatever guests I have on. Maybe it's guests that have lots of subs themselves,
Mhm.
and they'll bring people with them to watch the show. And in that case, I might have, 100 views that night, but then the next show, maybe half of that. So
Right.
um, I have noticed that for the most part, a lot of my videos have a consistent number of views, which I suppose is a good thing, because it's kind of analogous to the number of subscribers I have. That's
Right.
not always the case. Sometimes you'll go on a channel and they'll have like 4,000 subscribers, and they're doing a live show and there's only like 30 people watching out, but they have somehow have 4,000 subscribers. So
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Like, and again, I think we share that similarity. Like, I'm not like, I have many other things I want to do, but I also want to, I want to put out content that people are going to enjoy and watch. And the view count for me is only like, again, the exact same thing. Like, I just want people to watch it for nothing else. Like, it's not. I'm like, this is not a career or anything like that. It's just for fun. But you do want people to kind of to watch it. So that's
yeah, of
again, that's the
course.
only reason I see the view counts. It's just like, it's not really important. Like, I'm just like, oh, people like that. That's cool. Let's give them a tiny bit more, right? So it's not like um, ratings or anything like that.
Mhm.
But I also find that kind of interesting, when you're on other channels, and I do see that where there's lots of subs, and then other things are kind of going on in terms of view count. So, I know there's different ways to get to that. However they want to do it, that's great. This is
Mhm.
not the point of that was just not to do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, you mean I didn't mean the view counts to be like a negative thing. It was more like a positive thing. Like, let's give the people kind of what they want. So um, I'm also, as of late, trying to like see that. So as you grow, it's gonna happen. So
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, from the very outset of when I first started this channel, I knew that that kind of growth just kind of happens naturally.
right, right.
Yeah, of course, there's ways to, I guess, affect the algorithm. There's ways to, no, not necessarily affect the algorithm, but whether it's using tags or things like that, maybe,
Mhm.
hopefully, maybe more, you'll get some more eyeballs on it. Uh, but aside from that, it's just putting out content and hoping people like it,
Right,
and
right. So that being said, one of my things that I had in my head is, who do you think uh, watches Actual Dracula? Like, what do you think the collector is? Because they're all like, let's face it, they're all collectors who kind of we
yeah.
hope are watching the show. What kind of collector do you think is checking out your channel?
Honestly, I've kind of tried to figure that out, and it's all kinds. Like,
Okay.
honestly, I have so many different people watching uh, at any given time, and comments on my video. And when I see, when I go through that and see who's commenting, it's like there's a lot of usual suspects, a lot of people
Sure. Yeah.
that I'm
For sure.
friends
Which
with,
is
or
awesome.
I've been on videos with, and
Hmm.
things like that. Then there's also, there are a fair share of people that are strangers to me, people I've never heard of, which is always incredible. I'm like, how did this person even find this? Um, and so yeah, I've been really that kind of thing makes me really excited and happy to continue with this, because especially my goal was to have my goal really was, no matter what, uh, that my channel really be my own, and I'm not trying to copy what anyone else is doing.
Right.
Obviously, there's a lot of crossover between the
Sure.
content with the comic book YouTube channel is a niche thing, and a lot of us are doing very similar things, whether it's unboxings or a lot of people showing off comic books to the camera. You know, that's gonna happen no matter what.
Yeah.
But my whole thing was at least, you know, try to incorporate, try to make it a little bit more original. But whether it's by incorporating, you know, humor or just some weird ideas into it, and
Yeah.
trying to make it a bit interesting. Yeah.
Right. Well, when I getting into like onto people's channels, I'll be like, when I first kind of like stumbled onto your channel, and then I realized you're in Toronto and stuff, like I was like, man, this guy just like, it just must be like a horror thing, like just all pure horror like pure horror comics. And then I started watching the content, I'm like, that's no, it's not. It's not what it's
And
about.
I actually
There's
like that
definitely
because
yeah.
you're not the only one that's thought that. I think a lot of people assume that I'm heavy on the horror side of things. It's like, yeah, I love horror, of course, but it's not all. I mean,
Right.
I rarely define or rarely choose what I'm going to read or watch. I rarely do that based on the genre. Genre is not really that important to me. It's not nowhere near as important as a good story or good art or good
Mm-hmm.
direction, whatever it may be. Genre is very much secondary. So, yeah.
With that being said, how did you come up with the name? I'm curious.
Yeah. Okay. So I
Unless
have.
unless you don't want to say it.
Oh no, I've answered this before.
Okay.
I've been asked a couple times. It did start out kind of as a joke. I was at a friend's house, just having at a party or barbecue or something, and we got to talking about Dracula somehow, and I said, what if Dracula had a Twitter account? What kind of things would he tweet? And the next day, I decided to do just that. I set up a Twitter account as Actual Dracula,
Okay.
and I tweeted some things of kind of what Dracula might write in whatever year this was. This is probably about 7 or 8 years ago now.
Do you still do it?
No,
Is
I
it
still
Twitter?
have the account, but I didn't use it for very long because I quickly realized I did not like Twitter.
Yeah. Right.
And really, I was just like, it was literally, it was perfect for a lot of the stuff I was doing at the time. Was just coming up with, I was coming up with what I thought were clever or witty little ideas.
Was it like what's Dracula doing today? Like,
No, maybe, but there was stuff like uh, there was like Dracula facts. I remember the World Cup was on at the time, and I had one fact, which was, did you know that the first World Cup happened when Count Dracula exsanguinated an entire Portuguese soccer team? That was the first World Cup. It was stuff like that, kind of ridiculous. Anyhow, then I started up an Instagram account, and it had nothing to do with comic books whatsoever because I was not collecting at the time. It was just, you know, really random stuff, photos, and weird stuff I found. And I kept the name Actual Dracula because I liked it, uh, but there was no Dracula theme to it or anything
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
Um, And so when I decided to start my YouTube channel, of course, you know, I was like, I
Totally
already,
makes sense.
yeah, it made sense to keep the name because I had already at this point, about 2 years ago, I had started posting comic book content, and it was crazy how quickly that gained traction. The number of followers I got like overnight from posting comic book stuff, and like learning how to use hashtags. I was like, oh my god, people are actually seeing this stuff and liking it.
Right.
And yeah, so that's basically how where the name came from was my Twitter account,
That's funny.
tweeting as the actual
Actual
Count
Dracula.
Dracula. Yeah.
That's actually kind of funny. With okay, so now let's rewind a bit because you kind of mentioned like starting a few different things. Let's find out the road to the channel. Like
Mhm.
what brought you to the channel, and then once we get to the end of that journey, we'll just talk about like what it takes for you to make that content. Like
Mhm.
just like sitting down
Yep.
and actually working through it. So let's take that journey to where did it
Mhm.
start? Where did that journey start?
Okay, so it did start with my Instagram account.
Oh, okay.
I would say uh, probably about a year or so after I had, yeah, maybe 6 months to a year after I had started posting, comic book stuff and had started to develop a following there. I decided to, I posted a couple small videos, maybe like a couple comic book haul videos. And then also I did a couple of videos that were not just straight hauls. These were like ideas I had. I did a couple videos as a character named Tommy over here, where I did a bad like New York Brooklyn accent. I did a couple and a couple like I guess you could say comedy style comic book videos, and I really enjoyed doing that, and they seemed to have a positive response. Um, and this was around the time that I had discovered this comic book community that existed on YouTube
Right.
prior to
Yes.
collecting prior to getting back into collecting because I had been out of the hobby for over 20 years. I had no idea all these channels were out there, and so naturally, kind of as an extension of the whole Instagram thing, I went to YouTube, started uh, finding these channels. I some of the first channels I would have found, some of the bigger ones like Comic Tom and Gem Mint and Reggie Collects, and of course those all lead to it's
For
a
sure.
domino effect sort of.
Right. Right.
One thing leads to another. You get videos recommended to you,
Yeah.
and I was finding other channels, like DJ Links, Comic Foo 2814. And Comic Foo's channel was where I really started to become more engaged with the community. The Comic Foo's would do, he'd do his Mystery Men videos and building a mystery where him and Squatchy are putting together mystery boxes. And the chat in those videos was always so entertaining, and it was a lot of fun just to be part of. And I met a lot of really awesome people in this community just through the chatting with them on those videos.
Right. Yeah.
And and I remember I met people like Magic Lasso, Copy 801, a whole bunch of others just through those weekly watching those videos every week. And um anyhow, so finding all these different channels and seeing how everyone kind of had their own thing, uh that's really what inspired me to say, what, I could do this as well. I had fun making those little videos for Instagram. I was like, why not just, I could start by simply just by moving those to this platform, to YouTube, which is what I did. I put up um some of those videos. Those are my first videos. And then um basically, I like I said before, there was no real plan at the beginning. It was just kind of like throw at it and see what sticks.
Did you?
I
Was
had
this? Was this? Because sorry to interrupt, but uh, being engaged in some of the chat forums was just awesome, and you meet so
Mhm.
many great people. And I've developed same as me. I've developed many relationships.
Yeah,
But do you think that those relationships transferred over your thoughts? So like, I'm gonna try and foster more relationships by actually doing and participating in making content, being part of the YouTube community. Was that
abs-
was that was that part of
absolutely. I
it?
definitely wanted that to be part of it. Um, of course, at the very beginning of my channel, I had no plans to do live shows myself. It
Right.
was just like I had all these ideas for videos I wanted to make that would really only work as edited videos.
Hmm.
But uh, right around the time I started my channel, I started getting invited on other people's channels. I believe the first live show I ever did was Lamer Frame, the drawing game show on Rod the Reekin's channel. and that I was nervous at first, of course, as everyone is, but you know, that that's also, it was also a really great show to be. It's a really great show to be your first kind of live experience, because the pressure of trying to do a drawing in 2 minutes, it makes you forget all about what's going on out there. You're just like, I gotta
Yeah,
get this, I gotta draw this thing super quickly. And so that was an amazing experience. I absolutely love that show. Rod and Bearded Comic Brothers are both great, amazing members of the community. I've been on that show a few times now. It's
cool, nice.
one of my favorite shows. And that was, of course, another panel show. So you got to meet other members of the community, people I hadn't, you know, met or talked with before. And it wasn't just that. From there, it was going on. You know, I got invited on other people's channels, like whether it was someone sent me an invite or someone would drop a StreamYard link, you just hop on, you know, things like that. And that just kind of, you know, the more I got used to it, the more I was comfortable going on those shows. It got to the point where I was like, well, now I wanted to start my own, and exactly to kind of, as I said before, just to be able to foster those relationships and meet new people I had not talked with before.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
just to, that participation, there's something, it's hard to describe when you're developing those, it's because, you know, most of the time it's just on screens or in a chat, like that you meet people. So it's a different kind of connection rather than just hanging out with, like, you know, your friends in person and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I find it very interesting, that sort of dynamic that we in this community want to foster that, right? Whether it's just through like chatting on, you know, DMs and Instagram, about talking about stuff, or on videos and whatnot. I find that dynamic really, and that thought process really interesting. So it's cool that it brought you to YouTube as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, it was a part of the, when I got back into collecting comics, that was, you know, it was something I had not considered at all whatsoever, that would even happen, because like I said, I didn't realize that these communities existed, that they were, you know, this close, that this many people were communicating with each other on a regular basis. And it went from me saying like, oh, this looks like an interesting extension of the hobby, to it's become more of the hobby than the actual
Right.
collecting and reading of comics. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
and
It's
I
a
love that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a thing in and of itself that, you
Mhm.
know, that did spawn from collecting. I'm curious to find out your thoughts, and I'm the same way. There was a huge 20-year gap. Like, I
Mhm.
just stopped collecting for whatever reason it is, and then same thing. There's a lot of people in the past few years or past 3 years that got back into it.
Yeah.
What happened? What do you think happened in that gap? Like, is it just like, and we're all, I'm not, you know, in terms of that same age group, like it just seems that way, but that everybody seems to have that same sort of story, that there was that
Mhm.
gap and then they just got back into it. Like,
Yeah.
is it just because comics got cool again, or you
It's
know?
definitely a combination of things. One being like, yes, like a lot. I've heard the same story as well from, you know, when you get to high school, it's, you become interested in other things. You find, whether it's girls or
Sure.
guys or beer or just, you know, other things. You know,
Right.
for me, it was, I had not. I had not stopped reading comics, but I had just stopped like collecting. I wasn't viewing them as something that I really needed to like collect. I didn't have that collector's mentality towards them. Uh, I had discovered paperbacks and graphic novels, and I was like, "Oh, this is a way more efficient way to
True.
you know, consume these things." And so, you know, I didn't really ever stop reading comics. It was just I was out of the whole collecting part of it. Um, that being said, I would only buy maybe a couple graphic novels a year. So it wasn't like I was reading them constantly. It was kind of,
Right.
and so over that 20-year span, a lot of stuff happened that I'm still completely unaware of. I don't know, I don't know what Batman and Spider-Man were doing that whole time.
I know. Yeah, same here. Yeah.
I kind of lost touch with a lot of that.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Because around the same time, I'd also got into a lot more like independent stuff,
Mhm.
and discovered really cool, creators that way. And I think a lot of people got back into it. A big thing would have been the pandemic and the lockdown
Yeah.
and kind of forcing people to isolate.
Right.
That for me is what got me back. I don't want to say it's what got me back into collecting, because it had already been on my mind. Like, I had some boxes in my closet, just some long boxes at the back of my closet that I'd had this whole time that I'd never really gone through.
Right. They were.
And they were just sitting back there for years and years. And I had a little bit of time off work now. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to look through these. And once I started going through them, it was like, it hit me like I got that whatever it is that makes collectors do what they do. It just like that. I was like, a light went on. I was like, oh yeah, I loved collecting comics, and I went right back into it full force.
I agree with you with the whole lockdown thing. I think it's definitely a driving force. For me, it was I was always interested in comics, in the sort of fictional characters and stuff like that. I did stop reading comic books. I don't have that similarity. I didn't stop. I'd never read paperbacks or trade paperbacks and whatnot. But what happened with me is I saw, like you, I saw this community, and I saw, I still like these things. I still think they're interesting. I still think that they're there's definitely an allure to them. It's hard to describe, but when I did see other people out there talking and connecting with them, I was like, that's, let me look, let me see what people are getting back into. So, I share a similar vein with the whole, like, not being able to see anybody, but being able to be with people in a different way.
So that was kind of more what drew you back into collecting, as opposed to because so for me it was kind of the other way around, because I got back into collecting, and the not the bonus, but like at first it was just like, oh wow, there's other people that are really into this too, which of course I always knew, but I never really talked to other collectors or anything like that. So
right, seriously, like, I mean, seriously about it. I had friends and stuff. They're like, yeah, I got a couple books, from I think everybody back in the day, it was just a thing because there's no cell phones or whatever. There were comic books, so most people had, like, oh yeah, I remember that book, kind of thing. So, but there was the seriousness of it was like, I was like, oh my god, they're taking it really seriously.
Yeah,
it was interesting, right? So okay. So now we're at the beginning of the channel. What is it? I'm curious to know, like, the mechanics of it. Like, for you, is it again? You said there's no structure in terms of, like, I need to do this, and this. So
I actually did want to backtrack there, because there is structure, just not really to my live shows. But for my edited stuff, there absolutely is. Sometimes I have fully written out scripts for my stuff often.
All right.
And one thing I forgot to mention was another regular show on my channel is Interview with the Dracula, and that has been one of the I guess that was something I had considered doing, and I couldn't believe I actually got to do it, which was interview comic creators. just on a whim, I reached out to some different creators, whether it was on Instagram or through email, and they agreed to do these interviews with me, and that's been fantastic. And I'm really looking to do more of those this year.
Awesome.
But with those, I really do. I only interview creators that I'm a fan of their work, and I'm familiar with it.
Right.
But those I will typically put more work into, more homework, I suppose, in terms of thinking up questions, because I
Right.
want to
For
ask
sure.
them questions that hopefully they haven't been asked a million times. So.
Right. Of
And
course.
that's
Yeah.
hard to do. That's hard to
Extremely
do.
hard.
Yeah.
I find that they're very, and this is something I would also like to get into, but from watching other people's channels, it seems that this is a new platform for these creators. They
Mhm.
would normally never have, because they're not going to really be going on many mainstream shows, but now they have a platform
Yeah.
to discuss their thoughts, their creative process, everything else, right? So I find that majority of them would be accepting to this. You just reach out and be like, yeah, sure, I'm going to come on the show. And like a couple that come to mind, like Trish and Tony from Stray Dogs, like
Yeah.
those guys seem to be like, you just come with open arms. Like
Yeah.
they're great on like, they're like, yeah, I'll show up and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to see that and have that platform.
Yeah, it's incredible, and they've been very generous with their time going on so many other people's
Right.
channels. I'm trying to get them on mine, so hopefully, if they have some free time, that'll happen. But yeah, that's been one of the most rewarding things from this channel, aside from the whole not just speaking with other collectors and members of this community, but the creators are just as much a part of this community as anybody, and so getting to talk to them
Right.
and about their creative process, that's been an incredible experience. And Yeah, I'm really looking forward to continuing that. It was a really unexpected kind of benefit of starting this whole channel. Um, it's made it. It's also made me think more about um, what other kinds of uh, similar shows I could do, where if I'm not just because uh, I love talking to other members of the community and the creators, but maybe expanding to talking to actual other people in the comics industry, whether it be publishers
Right.
or retailers, things like that, because everyone has their own story, and there's interesting things to be found everywhere, and things you can learn from these people.
And there's so many, like, aside from just like like the people that the artist or the writer, there's so many different people that play a part in that creative process, right? And I think there's I agree with you, there's a ton of stories out there that people can tell that bring these books to us. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool that that you do that. I have a question. So I know a lot of people are intimidated to get on YouTube, and the I guess the story that I always hear is the daunting task of editing. How do you approach, like, everybody's kind of different, so I'm just interested to hear your approach on, like, is it a task? Do you enjoy it? Like, it's a thing. It's part of it. Like, aside from the live streams, which are one thing, and there's a different thought process that goes into it. But in terms of, like, preparing your video and editing is and again, part of it is like writing the scripts and making sure that everything's in place, and your knowledge and your like, I'm talking about like the whole kind of scope of it. Some people
Yeah.
find it daunting, and that's why they never do it.
Yeah. Well, my first piece of advice would be just do it, and
Right.
don't even worry about the editing at the start. You don't really I mean, ultimately, you can literally just hit record and then stop, and you can put that up on YouTube,
Yeah.
mistakes and all.
Yeah.
People will still watch it,
Sure.
When it came to when I decided to do my things, I knew uh before I even really put my first video out there, I decided to download some editing software and just kind of learn the basics a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah.
Um, which, to be honest, is still all I really know is the
I
basics.
think most people are
I
the
played
same.
around with a few features here and there, but I don't use some massive editing suite or anything.
Right.
I
Yeah.
use what I use is Hitfilm Pro. You can get a free version of that. I have I guess it's the pro version. It's I don't remember if it was like a one-time or annual cost, but whatever it is, it was quite affordable and absolutely worth every penny for the what it's capable of. And so I would say for that is just find, there's lots of free editing
Yeah.
software out there you can find. Just film stuff. It could be anything, and just play
And just
around
try with
with,
it. Right.
just just get used to cutting and trimming, and then uh, you know, um, playing around with, if there's effects and stuff like that. If you're interested, it's really the basics of editing. It's pretty, cut and dry. It's like literally you just cut here, uh, you know, put those two pieces together. Um, and for most people, that's really all they're gonna need, right? Is maybe cut out parts where there is awkward silence, or
Ums and
they needed
ahs.
to do, yeah, because like, so when I film my edited stuff, there's every one of my videos has multiple takes at some point where I screwed something up, or I decided I wanted to say something a little differently. Because sometimes I'll write out a full script, other times it's more just kind of I'll have a loose idea of what I want to say, and then oftentimes I'll just say it a different way, and like I'll do that a couple times and be like, use the take that I thought worked best. um and so I think for most people that's really going to be the extent of what you need to know to make like a YouTube video.
Yeah. It, I know a lot of people find it, well, it was like, for me, it was intimidating. I did um, try a few, and like, I was like, this needs to be edited. Like, I need to like cut some stuff out, like whatever. But what I found, not intimidating or daunting, but it's like when you're bringing in other elements and you're trying to edit, like if you're going to bring in slides, you're going to bring in
Mhm.
other information, or, like you're, you're trying to look at some information, like say from GPNs or something like that. So there's that part of editing too, like where you have to have multiple things kind of going on. I found that learning process a little bit, you just kind of have to do it. But my whole thing was, when I hear other people and they're like, oh, why don't you stutter up? You should. And they're like, it's the editing. Like, and again, you're right. Just do it. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
the most advice that, when I was watching other people's videos, they're like, just do it. Just do your first one. Just get it out there. Right.
Yeah.
Instead of just like sitting and like humming and hawing and like, you're like never going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, and there's so many channels that don't edit a
Right.
single thing, but they still have an audience because
Right.
people like their personality or their content, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Um, you know, if you look at the most successful channels on YouTube, yeah, there's some editing there for sure. People that have learned how to edit or have
Yeah.
someone edit for them.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it's also an evolution process when you see, and also for me, like when I see other channels, like you get
mhm.
inspiration, like, oh, I'm gonna kind of try that, or right, or if you have something that you're like, is that going to work, and you try it
Yeah,
out and
it,
see what
it's
works and what
it's
doesn't.
I mean, there's a whole it can be a steep learning curve, but if you I definitely like I said, I still just know the basics, but I definitely know more about how to approach my videos, a little bit more about editing them than I did when I first started, and it hasn't even been a year yet. It's been, I think, 8 months or something like that. And I've learned a lot over that short period of time.
Right.
So,
I know.
mhm.
And I think a lot of people, are in the same boat where you just did it yourself, right? You just like sat and either watch videos or tutorials and whatever, and everybody has like their own sort of software that they use. And I found that creative process, that was one of the driving factors for me, was I just wanted to have, it was a creative outlet. I just wanted to try this and work on it and make something, right? And you're just like, again, regardless of who watches it or not, you do want people, but I'm just like, oh, I made this. This is cool, right? Like this is like, oh, I did this. I, you know, have an artistic background, so it was just a different outlet. So, did you ever have did you have? I know you have an artistic background, but was that in your head when you're like trying to make content? Like, is it? Do you perceive it as like a different kind of art form?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah. And because there's ideas I have for videos that I haven't done because I'm simply not at the point where I know I'm kind of limited by my knowledge of say the technology of the editing software. There's ideas I have that are just a little ambitious right now, but once I get to more comfortable with editing and learning how, you know, different tricks and things I can do, that precisely, it's more like a proper short video or film than just me talking to a camera, right? So
right, yeah, and that's for me too. That's kind of where I want to evolve to, is like you know, honing my skills and using what I have in this head and putting it onto a screen. So that's kind of cool. That being said, where do you see those videos kind of going? Like where
cat's knocking something over there. Where do I see,
like where do you want the content to go then? Like where do you see the videos kind of? I know you want to have different creators and stuff like that on there, which is awesome, and
yeah,
I feel the same way. But like, where do you see the videos evolving to?
I definitely, with the kind of with the videos I have now and the ongoing series I have now, I absolutely want to continue doing those. And there's not much I would really change about them, to be honest. With all that stuff, whether it's our show or Casual Dracula, I really am liking and happy with the way they are now, and would continue in that vein. But other videos I want to do are more like I want to include stuff that's more that would incorporate some more of my weirder ideas,
Okay,
perhaps some more, I guess, like short comedy videos. I have if anyone's watched Freaky Louis stuff, I have made a couple videos for him, which he ended up using as his intro for Saturday Night Louis. Like, for example, it was like the SNL style sketch and opening. I would love to do more stuff like that.
okay.
And put that onto my channel.
With in relation to like comics or
Oh
more?
yeah, it
Oh,
will
okay,
always have. I think there will always be something comic related, or
okay,
at least pop culture related, I
sure,
suppose. Yeah.
okay.
hmm
I think I've seen a
And
few
but you
glimpses
know,
of that.
I say that now, but it's possible I may have other things as well, because I am a woodworker, and I might just throw in the odd woodworking video in there at some point. I've thought about that. I just haven't got around to doing it.
I think
Yeah.
that might be something in the future where, because I always ask, like the relationships that I build, I I want to know about people. I want to, like, what else like you guys into? Like, I know you like comics,
hmm
but you know there are other things, which is, and I think as we get like, when you really think about it, it's a fairly small community. Like
hmm
there's like it's pretty, like, in terms of like us in North America. I know you have friends who are elsewhere, but I think it's a pretty small community. So I think to some point we're going to get to really know more about other people, and that's kind of part of it too. Like what else kind of, like, you know, makes you tick in a way.
Yeah, and I do want to incorporate that stuff into my channel as well. Like I said, I don't be surprised if you do see maybe some woodworking stuff
Sure, that'd be awesome.
on my channel. I love cooking as well. I had ideas for some cooking videos. Again, those are they're gonna be actual Dracula cooking videos, so they won't be just like they won't
Normal.
be normal. Yeah, that I'll put it that way. Yeah,
Do it the Saturday night lifestyle like Julia Child.
I could do. Yeah,
That comes to mind. Sorry.
I could try
Like,
that out. Yeah.
well, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Like everybody's got a thought process, and I always find that things change along the way, regardless of your intent. Like, I mean, it's just going to evolve into a different avenue. And I think that there's like I don't know how to say it. There's not a lot of structure to what we do, so it's awesome that it can kind of change really, really quickly and go in different ways. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I've from day one when I started this channel, I didn't want it to ever feel like a job,
Okay. Right.
like work, and sometimes it can, with the editing and stuff. Sometimes it's like I don't really feel like doing this right now, but I said I would make this video, and but overall I'm having a ton of fun doing it. And I've also never wanted to, I guess, pigeonhole my channel to be like it's going to be just about comic books. I'm just showing off comic books. And when you look at really the most successful channels, whether it's about comic books or video games or whatever, one kind of thing you'll see is there is a regular steady stream of very much the same kind of content, whether
Right.
it's the same show. It's about consistency. They're consistent.
Right.
The most kind of successful channels have that consistency, which is something I would love to have and strive for. But at the same time, I don't want to increasing my number of views or subscribers is nowhere near as important to me as it is just making sure this is always fun and a good time and feel loose and relaxed, as opposed to, oh, I got to get that video out on time. I
Right.
got to get this done right now because like I got to get those view counts and subs up. And
Right.
if you want to get to those 10,000 subscribers, unless you go viral or something, you kind of do have to do that. You have to be that consistent, I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've kind of learned just from watching so many other people's channels. And if that's what you want to do, great, absolutely, I say go for it. But it's just not really the goal with my channel.
Oh no, I agree.
It's about having fun. So
yeah, for me as well, it's definitely about having fun, and I totally agree with you in terms of the structure. Like I've spoken to other people, and there's like a consistent like you have to do like one or two edited videos and then do a live per week, right? But yeah, some of the bigger channels definitely have that structure, and and as a viewer too, I'm like, I know this person's going to do this right now, that day, and that day, and that day. So there is that consistency. I'm on the same vein as you. It's like it's more of a free flow. I just want to have fun and just do it. Like if I miss a week or more than that and putting out a video, that's cool. Like there's other things that I'm doing, but when I do,
you don't owe it to anyone, really, right? It's like otherwise, then it starts to become work. Right.
Like that's not what I got back into collecting for. It's fun, right? But I do admire like, and again, I guess it does at some point become a bit of a job, but it has benefits because it's about comics. The people that I do see who have more of a structure and have more consistent shows, I still feel that they love comics.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not saying like, yes, it's work. You have to put in the work too.
Yeah. Right.
But it's work you'd enjoy doing. I mean, like you know, even when I don't feel like doing it all the time, I still enjoy it.
Mhm.
I'm just saying I don't want to ever get to in a position where I feel like I'm required to do anything. I
Right.
want to be able to just walk away for a month and not put up anything. And it's like, okay, I won't earn any more subscribers at that point, but that's not why I'm doing this. That's not the end game, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, I like most times I don't pay attention to the subscribers or views. It's just about as soon as I hit that and the send button to upload a video, I'm pretty proud of it. And
mhm. Yeah.
right, because it does, and the term work, like, you mean, it does take work, and it does take work in anything, like even comic
Mhm.
books themselves. Like when you're trying to find certain books, there's work involved, right? There's also work involved in getting them prepped to get them to a different level, and what I'm saying, grading and stuff like that. So it's just a different kind of work, and it is fun for me. So
Yeah.
that's cool. So um, where do you see the channel, and like, do you see yourself in like a few years from now, like it's still kind of moving along, and
Yeah, I
we still
hope
have
so.
Actual Dracula?
I think so, yeah. I would love to keep doing this. I I'm really amazed that like that anyone has been watching my stuff, and it's really incredible. The feedback I've received has been like all positive, uh, which is how you know I don't have a huge channel yet because
You don't have any
I
negativity
don't
yet.
have any mean comments or dislikes yet. I'll get there someday. That's my goal.
But it
Is
seems
to
it
get
seems it
is to get
happens.
those
It
dislikes.
seems it happens. I've spoken to a few content creators. And like, man,
Mhm.
some people can just be mean. I'm like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's when you know you've made it, when you can
yeah.
actually get some haters. Uh,
That's funny.
and yeah, sure, I wouldn't mind cracking that 1,000 subscriber mark. You know, sometime in the next decade, that would be great. And actually, speaking of that, that's another thing I haven't really looked at too closely, but I am curious about is that, you know, I had from start to up until recently, I had kind of a real steady growth in my, you know, viewers and subs. And then I had a certain uh mark, you know, around 350 where it's kind of just leveled out. And I've talked to other people of this, and it's just seems to be something that happens. You kind of hit these slumps where you're not,
Plateaus.
for whatever reason, you know, what made, you know, depending on whatever content you're putting out, or maybe it's just people, not many people happen to catch your videos for whatever reason. You might find these little slumps where you don't really see much growth, but
Right. I,
so I'm kind of stuck between 350, 400, and um and I to me, I'm just curious to see. I'm looking. This is like kind of the first time I've really started to look at those numbers, because it's like, oh, it kind of stopped right there for some reason, and I'm curious why. Maybe it's haven't been putting out as many videos during that period. That could be why. So that kind of made me look at that stuff a little bit more too,
I need to.
just out of curiosity more than anything, and just seeing if you know, we say we're not really after the followers or subscribers, but those things, those numbers can inform, uh and I think do inform people's content, because like we both said, we're not just doing this for ourselves. Otherwise,
Right.
why would we be putting this on YouTube at all?
Right.
um and I do want to improve my content, and so if those numbers can inform that improvement, then that's a good thing for everyone, I think.
For sure. I need to learn more about YouTube. Like I kind of went into it just being like, oh, I'm going to upload videos, but I need to learn more about how it like operates in the back end as I grow. Right. Like, I mean, that's part of it. As you learn to
Mhm.
create these videos, you need to learn how they're put out there, right, and how they're viewed, right. So I think there's more to it than just like having your followers on Instagram or whatever, knowing that you have a video up or whatever. I think there's way more to it on YouTube. So I do want to learn about that. And again, it's not really tied to I want more viewers. I want to learn that. And that'll help me to be a better, content creator, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think there's just a lot that's happening in the behind the scenes that I don't know. There's a lot of people that are very knowledgeable about it, and once in a while, I should reach out and ask those questions. So, right on. Okay, that's cool. I think I don't want to take up too much of your time. So it's been great. Is there anything else you want to say about the channel?
Not off the top of my head. I think that there's not much I can say about my channel. I mean, I'm not a great. I don't have a great sales pitch or anything like that.
No, this is not about. I'm not trying to get you to sell Actual Dracula. I just want people to have like a little bit more, go beyond just what they see on the YouTube, what they see on Instagram. So, and again, to have you on as the first guest, because you're awesome. And I love the content that we create together as well. I just want people to know more about it. So it's not about you trying to watch me.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is, yeah, my channel is still a work in progress. So I guess that's why I'd say, I don't really have a great sales pitch for it because I'm still not entirely sure what it is I'm selling to begin with. I have I kind of still view it in like bits and pieces. Like I have these different parts, different moving parts that I can kind of see it for what it is. I don't know how other people perceive it. If they see it the same way as like, this looks like a bunch of random stuff. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like that to me, but I do, the more I do it, the more I kind of see things like, I guess, gelling together in terms of like a vision I have overall for my channel,
right.
Which will always be a little bit random and chaotic. That's always going to be part of it, I think, because I enjoy that stuff. I'm just inspired by a lot of things that could be described that way. So yeah, I guess really, I'm grateful for anyone who's watched any of my videos, and yeah, I hope that people continue to enjoy them. I mean,
yeah. And create more relationships with other people that are in the the collecting community. That's
absolutely that's always that was a thing I had not expected, but it has become one of my biggest goals of my channel. Is definitely to become to actually not just be part of this community, but to help other people, introduce people to each other as well. That's why I started the live show, for that very reason too.
That's awesome. Right on. Okay, so again, I don't want to keep you too long. The sort of the idea of the show was kind of taken after Inside the Actor Studio, and at the end of it's coming up at the end of the Inside the Actor Studio, there's a little bit of a questionnaire that every person got. It was I don't think it was originated, but Benard Pivot, and you are familiar with that, French TV host from an entertainment show, used to ask it, and Inside the Actor Studio, they were asked those questions. So we're going to be starting a little bit of tradition on this show. And
shout out to James Lipton.
James Lipton, right? It was a great show. So if you're ready, we will proceed with the questions. So first question is, what's your favorite word?
Yeah. Oh, wow. See, I maybe I should have prepared, since I know this questionnaire, but that's it. I hadn't even my
that's
favorite word. Wow. I know all of these are things I'm going to have to think about.
That's okay. That's the point behind it.
Yeah. My favorite word. Well, okay. I don't know if it's my favorite word. A word I use probably too much is awesome. And I do I use it too much, but I also really love what you think about what it really means is like to be in awe of something.
Okay.
Right?
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe awe. Maybe just awe. That's one of
Okay.
my favorite words.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect. Then what's your least favorite word?
Least favorite word. Wow. I would say it is. Man, these are tough. I saw so many people answer these, and it's like, oh wow, yeah.
But it was just so interesting when you got to see them answer it, because you get to
Yeah.
know a little bit about somebody, right?
Yeah. Especially because I've never thought about that before. My least favorite word. I'm gonna say,
It's a toughie.
well, I think I've heard this. I'm pretty sure someone on that show you said this before. But moist is a bad word.
Okay, I agree with you. Yeah, because sure. There's a lot behind that word. Okay, moist. What turns you on? It's interesting because this is the first time I'm going to be doing this, so I'm curious to see what other people are going to say. But, yeah, what turns you on?
Yeah. Wow. There's a bunch of things going through my head right now.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever. First thing. The first thing.
It just depends on what direction I want to take the answer, right?
Again, it's just to get an idea of what Actual Dracula is about, and it's beyond Actual Dracula, right? There's
that's
right?
That's true. Let's say I'll go with the simple answer.
Okay.
I'm an ass man.
You're an ass man. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, like a lot of people. Okay.
That's keeping it as simple.
There we go. We're getting to
that's the way it went. Yeah.
What turns you off?
I'd say like any sort of cruelty or real violence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I can totally agree with that. What sound or noise do you love?
My cat's meow.
There we go.
Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I'd say yeah, that's another one. I can think of a few things. Um, just like any kind of scraping metal on metal. That
Okay.
screech of metal on metal.
Metal on metal, not like
Like a
fingers on chalkboard, but metal on metal.
yeah, but the chalkboard thing similar, but
Metal.
it can be even worse with like if you took a hard piece of metal and scraped it down like a thin piece of aluminum siding or something. That's a terrible sound.
Okay, there we go. What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Okay, just nothing in before, nothing after, just
Fuck.
plain old fuck. All right.
Mm-hmm. Plain old fuck.
Just plain old fuck. It works.
Mm-hmm.
It works, right? What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? You know what you do, so.
Hmm. Yeah. That's another really good question.
Definitely not a metal worker.
No, I mean, there's definitely metalworking stuff I'd love to learn, but I just have to put up with the sound. Let's see.
These are tough questions for you.
That's another one because I think about there's like a lot of things I would like to do, but to do as a profession.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
It
can be anything. You can pick it, and you'll make money from
it. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I'd always wanted to I would have loved to actually like really learned about filmmaking.
Okay.
And to become like to be a director.
Okay.
That would be, this YouTube channel is an opportunity to do that in some small way, but to actually
make film,
really study filmmaking properly and learn all the ins and outs of that industry. That would have been an interesting direction to take. See what I did there?
Yeah. Sometimes I have things in my head like I would have loved to have done that as well. That's not what I would have answered, but I look at situations or whatever, and I'm like, and I play it out like a movie in my head. I'm like, oh, we can change this, and this would be whatever. Like, it's weird. Like sometimes I'll create scenes in my head, like what would be kind of cool. Like it could be like an adventure film. It could be like anything. But sometimes I'll be like, oh, this would be kind of cool like this, right? So I think of those things. That's a great answer. All right, last question, and I asked you if it's okay if I ask this because it's has a little bit of religious undertones. If heaven exists, what would you like God to say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Let's see.
What's the cat's name, by the way?
Chewbacca.
Oh,
yeah.
You're gonna have to get another cat. What's the new character? Oh, he's not a new character.
Oh, that black. I don't even know how you say his name.
Black Chewbacca or black Wookiee. Yeah,
Black Chewbacca, the Black Wookiee. Yeah. What would I want to hear? What would I want to hear, or what would I expect to hear?
What would you like God to say to you?
Oh,
like you've arrived at the pearly gates. Mm-hmm. What would you like him to say to you?
Let's see.
See, now we know a little bit more about Actual Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always that's the toughest one.
It could be about, something, like you feel like you've accomplished in your life, or maybe you shouldn't be there, or anything. What would you like him to say to you? Like, just be like, I'm not going to put anything in your head, actually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No suggestions.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can just hear my wife in the background saying, "Your cats are here." That's. I guess I'd like to hear. Wow. What's that? Oh, sorry. Hold on. What's that?
It's okay.
Okay. You go with something like I was gonna say, who the hell let you in here? I don't know if I want to hear that.
Did you want to hear that?
Yeah.
What you want to hear him
Hey,
say?
yeah. Hey, who let you in here? No. Great job. We like you so damn much. We're gonna send you right back, and you can
Send you right back as yourself, or send you right back as
as something else. No, as actual Dracula.
want to come back again, reincarnate. Okay.
Yeah.
More to do.
Until I've had my my fun with it, until I actually there was this is not really part of the answer, but part of the whole actual Dracula name, part of that does have to do with my kind of fascination with immortality.
Oh, okay.
And so that is my answer, I guess, in that I want to hear you're not finished here, because you know what? I'm having such a blast here on planet Earth with all these other humans. Maybe when I'm older, I won't feel the same way, but man, life's just too short. I think if I could get like another shot at it as well, just
There you go. You
keep
show up, and
going.
he's like, you get another shot.
Yeah, exactly. You get it. Yeah, nice try, but yeah, you failed. No,
No.
you,
Here comes round two.
Yeah, round two. I like that. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a tough question.
They're all kind of difficult.
They
Like, I mean,
are all. Yeah,
we learned a little bit more about Actual Dracula. I like that.
yeah.
You're an ass man. That's great.
Yeah. Again, like I could think of
Top
there's
answer.
a lot of things I could have said, but
That's gonna be the thumbnail.
yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with if that's what people know about me. So
Right on. Cool. All right. Well,
hmm.
that was a lot of fun. That's great. I appreciate you joining me for the first episode of Inside the YouTube Studio. What did you think? I think it's a pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
I think the whole idea behind it is just to get you also thinking like sometimes you don't think about what's going on unless people start asking you questions. You're like, oh, and then you start thinking about it, formulating the answers. So, man, I appreciate you you joining me. It's been an honor, and you're the first guest. It's great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on as the first guest. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this. See who else you have on too.
I have a few people lined up. Hopefully, I can keep it kind of going. I'm trying to do it for every 2 weeks, maybe, or maybe once a month. Nothing too crazy, just to keep it, very very kind of loose. But hopefully, when people start seeing it, kind of gets the ball rolling. But this was one of my things for the new year, was to try and make new content, and this was one of my ideas, and
yeah,
I'm trying to foster it. So I thank you for joining me. So any parting words for the audience?
Yeah, no, just if you don't, if you haven't seen my channel before, check it out. There might be some stuff you like. Yeah.
Again, I'll put the links in the description, so you can find Actual Dracula's channel, his Instagram, and give him a sub up and give him a follow. So yeah, again, thanks for joining me, and just want to say, everybody, to YouTube, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, like, subscribe, do all those things, leave comments. Find me on Instagram here, leave a comment, like the chat, and yeah, we'll see you guys soon. So take care. Cheers.